Hello and welcome. My name is Patricia Caldera from Corgi, and today we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to learn how to draw elf ears. If you're a fantasy fan like me and really like elves like the ones we see in Lord of the Rings, World of Warcraft or any other settings, well, this video is for you. We're going to learn how to draw elf ears step by step in a very simple way. So before we start doing the drawings, I'm just going to give you a few tips for you to know what we need to do to have some elf ears. So first, and very obviously, pointy ends. The elf ears, either if they are bigger or smaller, they always have some pointy ends up here. Another thing is, they tend to be more elongated. For me personally, the bigger the best. I really like the way the World of Warcraft elves have their ears. I really like how big they are and how long they are. It's really cute, and this is how I usually go with my elf ears as well. But it's totally up to you and what kind of ears you like the most. And well, lastly, the earlobes tend to be smaller and closer to the face. So I think this is it for now, and now we're going to start with our drawings. So accompany me, watch the video and practice later, however you wish. So let's start. So we're going to go to drawing our elf ear in 4 very simple steps. We're starting with some shapes, very basic and simple shapes to have a skeleton of our drawing. Then we're going to make a rough sketch, adding some details, but nothing really perfect here. And then we do our final lines, and finally we add some color and even some shading. So let's do this. So I have here my document, and we're going to start with our shapes. I usually go for a pencil brush, which I prefer to use. So we're going to create our shape for our elf ear. So since elf ears tend to be pointy, we're going to do a very basic one. We're going to be doing some very straight and pointy lines. So we start here, a tiny line for our lobe, then we go here, here, and here. So this is just our shape, and this can even be the shape for a regular ear. So there we go, you can even do something like this in here so you know where some of your lines are. But I usually like to save this for the sketch. So once we have here, as you can see, I'm doing things very small right now since my document is big. One advice here, if you feel like your canvas is too big or you're just not as comfortable to draw big, you can either zoom out your document and draw from afar so things look smaller and you do smaller lines, or you draw small and then you make it bigger. For example, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be doing my sketches smaller, then I'll just make them bigger and I can do my final lines like that. So there we have it. We have here our shapes, very simple, almost like a diamond shape. Now I'm going to make this a little bit transparent. I'll create a new layer, and now we're going to do our sketch lines. So we add more curves here now, a very small lobe. Of course, this is all according to your taste as well. You can give different shapes here or lines. You can make this one bigger as well, but it's mostly this. I think that every time I draw elf ears, they're different. I'll be honest here. I like to experiment a lot with them. I'm going to change this part here a bit. So don't be afraid, as while you're in your experimenting phase, which is usually the sketches, when we're doing our sketches, don't be afraid to try new and different things. and you don't need to follow strictly your initial shapes. You can then, while you're doing your sketch, experiment differently. So there we go. We have here our sketch, and now we're going to make both of these bigger since they are very small here. Maybe even tilt it a bit. Whoops. Tilt it a bit. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to add some transparency here as well, and now I can go for my final line. So you can either do this on paper. I'm using Clip Manga Studio, but you can use any drawing software that you're used to or that you like, or you can do this on paper, however medium you prefer. The steps are the same. So let's go for our final line. So now we're going to refine our drawing and make our final lines, make the final changes that we might want to do. There's always space, especially if you're doing this on the computer, to change things to your liking. So I'm going to go with the same thing I had here. Remember, if you're doing this digitally and even with inking pens, to try different weights in your lines. It's very important to give some dynamic to your drawings. And don't worry if you have to repeat your lines a lot. This is fairly normal and common. You repeat until you are happy with the lines you have. So now we just need to add our details here. Add as much as you want. I don't add a lot of details. I like to keep things very simple. But you can even add some earrings, for example, if you want, to your character. We can try that out. Let me see. So I don't know, we could add something here. So yes, do take as long as you wish in your lines and in trying new and different things for your drawings. So I realized that I made this one upside down, so you can always do some editing like this. You just, whoops, you grab it and change places that might look better. So never be afraid of doing mistakes. Even if you do, there's always space and time to change things and correct them. So the most important thing here when drawing is for you to be as much comfortable as you can and relax. Really, there's no need to be afraid. So I think I'm finished with my lines here, and now we're going to add some coloring. So I can hide these ones now, and now we can choose any skin color. And if you want, I sometimes, to add color faster to my drawings, I'll grab my paint bucket and then I just need to refine it if there's some places that the paint bucket missed, so this makes my work a bit faster. Other times I just prefer to take my time with the painting and paint everything by hand with my brushes. So there we go. Which color shall we go with this? Some golden color maybe? Let's try this one. Maybe some, maybe a bluish tone might look nice. Yeah, I think I'm going with the bluish tone. So it's very simple, as you can see. The trick here is always to relax, have fun and experiment. There we go. And now even we can add some shadows, so you can either do a new layer. I work a lot with this. I make a new layer, I change the mode to multiply and add some transparency to it and use the same tones that I used, and I'll give it some shadows. Otherwise you can just either make a new layer or work on the top of the layer that you did your colors on, choose darker tones of each color and do your shadows. So I'm not going to do a lot here. I want to keep it very simple. I'm going to keep it really simple. So this is it. We have here our elf here. Let's just go very quickly go over each of the steps. So we started with a very basic shape, a diamond shape. Then on top of it we drew our ear with some more detail and with more rounded lines. Then we did our final lines, so very refined, and we added something else to it. We added an earring there for some customization to our ear, and then finally we add some color and shadows. Very simple. You can add as much or less shadows as you want. Maybe you don't even want any shadows in it, which is totally okay as well. Totally up to your style. So this is it, a very normal and simple elf here, and from here you can customize it as you want. Now if you want to know more, like differences between human and elf ears, differences between female and male ears, as well as different ideas and styles for your fantasy ears, you can go to doncorgi.com/elf ears, and there's a lot more for you there, so check it out. And this is it for today, and hopefully I will see you next video, so I'll see you there. Lord of the Rings, World of Warcraft. You really like it, as well as, oh yeah, this is that. Blah 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 blah.